Hello, I'm Jason Skill. This is Painting with Skill, Lesson 14. In this lesson, we'll be continuing to look at the stock sky idea. What I have in this top right-hand square is the basic format, which is that it's a dark shape that fills the top portion of the picture, and then we drop back, make a new cloud shape, and then we drop back and we make a further cloud shape that gets thinner. So each one is getting thinner as they're dropping back to the bottom left. Now, one of the things that you might become confused with, as most people do when they do this, you start to ask yourself the question, so is this the sky and this the cloud, or is this the cloud and this is the sky? Who cares? Just think of it as a pattern, right? So that that's dark and that's light. And it'll just, as it works through, to begin with, that will be enough. You don't need to worry your head as to whether you're painting the cloud or you're painting the sky. It's just a format. So let's drop into the one below. Again, I'm still using this French ultramarine, and this time, instead of it being a rounded shape as we have this one, so each of those is a rounded mark, I'm going to do it so that it's maybe not quite as even. So what I did there is I've taken the brush and I've kind of fidgeted it. I pushed it flat and I fidgeted it. Now we'll come back a bit, hold the brush flat, and maybe I'll kind of fidget it. So I'm holding it and I'm just sort of doing that, putting it flat and just fidgeting it. And then we can, if I do that with there, flat down, it's probably going to be a bit wide. So I'm going to take the side of the brush, I'm just going to kind of fidget and pull it. Now you can see that it's exactly the same format as the last one, but it looks slightly different. So as I then paint my spit of land on here, and then let's have, say, some waves. Here's another one. You could just try some little broken marks, dragged. Then you can see that the sky would work in that kind of context. Now this time we're going to do it on the top left hand side. I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to, instead of putting it into fluid, I'm going to sort of push it open a bit, so I'm actually kind of almost breaking the shape up a bit. And now instead of putting the brush full down, I'm just going to kind of tap it so I don't touch all the time. Again, I'm holding it and I'm just sort of flattening, and I do the same sort of thing and I just kind of pull it and flatten it, but I'm not trying to make a solid shape anymore. I'm doing a bit of a broken shape, and here I might just drag that, and then let's put our landscape, spit of landscape in. Let's try a little bit of a dry brush, so let's push it flat and then we'll drag it through there. So we'll have a little bit of dry brush drag, and you can see that the wind has picked up. Now consider in some ways that the marks that you make will illustrate the movement of the wind, the speed of the wind in your cloud. So if you make them rounded, as I did the first time, it's moving slowly across the sky. The second one, it's breaking up a little bit, the cloud form, and it's just speeding up as it moves across the sky. Now when we go to the top left, it's becoming one of those sort of salmon skies where it's basically breaking up and fluttering. So if I break it up and flutter it even more with this one, so I'm using perhaps more dry brush, so I just test how dry is my brush. I might do it on the page or on the board, or I could make sure that it's just about the right consistency by rubbing it on here, maybe test on there. I'm opening it out. Play before you place it on the page, and then I'm going to just sort of, again, putting the brush quite flat, tap and drag for that top one, and then maybe a little bit further back, further down for the one below it, and then the one below that. Let's go back to the little piece of spit of land, and then we'll go dry brush, push that flat, and dry brush drag through there. It's probably even faster. You might find that it's a good idea, as I've illustrated here, to take the same compositional format and you play with it so that you are changing the way that you apply it. Now you could also alter the size of brush. Here this is a size 5. You could use a smaller brush and try doing the same thing with different sizes of brushes. You might find that it'll vary the mark making that you do. You might be able to play with different forms of dry brush, or just simply the point and the size of it will alter. but just each time stick to the stock sky composition. Big to smaller, moving steadily to the right hand side. In the next video, video 15, what I'll do is I'll take this format and I'll just start to move it about a bit. So I'll slide the pieces of cloud in and out a little bit so that you're taking this format and then altering it a touch. Again, this will enable you to take that stock sky idea and just adapt it a bit more so that you don't feel like you're doing exactly the same thing every time, and that little bit of alteration is a comfortable move, shall we say, so that you can become more adept in creating imagination sort of skies for the viewer watching, but actually it's just an adaptation of your stock sky.